Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner. I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me today. And today, I want to share a little bit of a personal story, and there's a point to it, I promise. But I was thinking about, what to discuss this week. And I had some different ideas in mind, of course. And then I was like, oh, today is November 4th. So I am recording this on November 4th. And 13 years ago today, on November 4th, I had my baby shower. I was like 30 weeks pregnant with my girls and had my baby shower. And so this time period, over the next like 3 weeks in my life, it was a really, really stressful time for me. And I'm not sharing this for any kind of sympathy or anything like that because I've already worked through this and I just want to share an example. But because we all uh, go through some really, really shit-tastic things. There are things that happen to us, things that happen to other people, things that are said to us. It's pretty much unavoidable. We are all going to experience something that hits us in a way that impacts us in a way like this, right? So I had my baby shower. And I did kind of think that it had been strange that a couple of my friends, like, it had been weird over the last several months because there were certain friends that were just like not really talking to me. But I was in my happy bubble. I mean, I was finally pregnant. I was expecting twins. We had wanted children for so long, and it was, so this whole big thing, we had fertility issues and everything, and that's a story for another day. I've probably mentioned that before, but my girls were IVF babies. So, I'm in my happy bubble, going for my baby shower and everything. And I thought it was kind of weird, that some of them weren't talking to me. And then there were some there, one friend, she kept asking, when's the shower? And I was like, well, it's supposed to be a surprise, but like, I know it's the 4th, whatever, kept on asking. Well, I found out that day while I was at the shower and like leaving the shower, that the reason why they were asking and the reason why, half of my guest list wasn't there was because someone else, another friend, decided to purposely put her daughter's christening on the same day as my, and effectively took a bunch of the guest lists. Um, and I was so, I mean, I'm sitting there going, why? Like, is she mad at me? Like, what? Why is she mad at me? um, and, so come to find out that some of what I thought were my closest friends in the world, like people like we danced at each other's weddings. Some of us were in, all of that. And they decided that because someone in our friend group had some issues with CPS, and they decided that I must have been responsible for CPS coming to their house. It was not me. I've never called CPS on anyone. But anyway, so there was this like soul crushing moment finding out that all of the friends that I thought were the closest people in the world to me, aside from my family members and my husband, were having I hate Jess powwows. They were planning their daughter's christening on the day of my shower. Like, and I mean, it was like a ton of bricks just kind of falling down onto me. My sister was in town. She had to go back home because she didn't live in the state. And I pretty much spent the next 3 weeks literally just crying my eyes out, hysterical crying because, trying to figure this out, trying to talk to, like what is going on, like what happened here. And then at 33 weeks, 6 days, my water broke and I gave birth to those girls early and they spent 18 days in the NICU. And, did the stressful events have something to do with going into labor early? Most likely. But okay, so fast forward now. Okay, my girls are turning 13 at the end of the month. Um, and I was, I was really broken up about this for a really long time, as you can imagine, like something like that to, try and like process and get over. So my whole point with telling you this is that there's always going to be things like this. There's always trauma. There's always stuff going on. And like maybe your trauma that you're thinking of was not something like mine. Maybe it was, it doesn't matter the severity level in terms of how we think about it. What matters is the severity level in terms of our nervous system and how our nervous system thinks it's happening, right? I don't have any notes for this. I'm totally speaking from the heart. So if I kind of like run off on a tangent, I do apologize. Thank you for being here. Um, but nothing is wasted. Okay. Trauma sits in the body, it hangs out there. We want to do things like emotion code, body code, quantum frequency blueprint. We want to dig deeper into psychological misunderstandings. We want to understand more about our energy centers and the core misunderstandings that are there so that we can better work through these things. But nothing is wasted. So even the absolute worst experience you can think of, whatever it is you can think of in your mind, and it might be the most horrific thing you've ever thought of, okay? But nothing's actually wasted because everything is going to help uncover another piece of you. Um, and I know that sometimes it's just like, Jess, what the hell are you saying? Are you kidding me right now? Look at this thing that happened to me. I get it. I know. I know. If you would have told me at the time, or even just a few years after that happened to me, that it wasn't wasted. It's not even like, oh, silver lining, learn a lesson. I mean, like obviously I can see now that the path that I was on was not the same as the path that the people that I no longer speak to and no longer know. I don't know them anymore. Like there's somebody that I used to know. And that's fine. There's lots of people that I used to know. I'm sure there's lots of people you used to know. But nothing is wasted. And eventually you can kind of see, and hindsight is 2020 because of course I'm like, okay, so there were whispers, there were signs, and then the universe screamed. um I want you to know that everything is exactly as it's supposed to be, and that you really are under there somewhere, and that there's no amount of anything that you could experience that's going to throw you off the track of revealing you, of revealing who you are under there, of finding that true self and being authentic with yourself, and knowing that you don't have to let all of these things sit in your nervous system and cause, you are able to use them to your advantage. Now, I will say, I like with that particular event, I have dug into it on my own enough, not in a way to relive it, because we don't want to relive things. And that's why I do my emotion code and body code sessions by distance without a call or anything, because we don't need to sit here and relive the entire thing. If you want to think about it, reflect on it later, that's a different story. I've done it both ways, and both ways can be effective, but most of the time it is just, it's counterproductive to relive it. Acknowledging is one thing, reliving is quite another. And it's already living inside of you, like literally coursing through your veins, through your fascia. It's everywhere in there, and it's gunking everything up. We don't need to make that. It's like, oh, we got this part out over here, but we relived it, and now it's over here. Nah. So, you like my little visuals. Nah. And my kids are old enough now that like when I do the little things like that, they kind of like eye roll at me. Because it used to be like, tell me you have young kids without telling me you have young kids. My baby's still 7. But so what I'm saying is absolutely none of this is wasted. There's going and there's and I don't want you to have to sit there and dig into it and relive it and everything, but there are ways that you can just kind of sit with something. You don't have to try and analyze it. Everything doesn't have to be analyzed. Just sit with it and feel what you're feeling about it. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling about it, and just sit and be aware that it's there. I know that sounds weird, but when you sit and you're aware that it's there, little bits of clarity will start to creep in. It won't be right away. You're going to sit there and be like, well, I didn't feel any clarity. And I sat there quiet for like 30 seconds, Jess. I don't know what happened. No. I mean, well, maybe it'll come in 30 seconds. But usually if you're just sitting there and just acknowledging something like that, the clarity, the little bits of things that are going to help you realize that you don't need to get so angry every time or so upset every time you think of it again. Okay. It's going to happen gradually. You're going to be like, well, look, look at me. I did that. I'm not upset about that anymore. No, it's not, it's not even going to be something that's like so big that you feel like you have bragging rights. But one day you're going to be like, okay, I can talk about this and not get all teary. I can talk about it and not get angry. I can talk about it and not be fired up. Okay. And of course, when something's exciting, get fired up about it. But when it's something that's negative like this, every time we talk about it, we're kind of reliving it. We're kind of hammering in how we perceived it. And there's always another way to perceive it. And that's what I'm trying to get you to see is that there's another way to perceive things. And for the longest time, I was like, screw them. And I mean, I'm still kind of on a screw them. Okay. However, it doesn't matter anymore. Because I can see enough. I mean, like I could sit on here and say some nasty things because I know people who know people and I know what's going on. But we won't do that because everybody, we all have our things. So I just want you to know that you can move past that part of it. So yes, it happened, but it doesn't have to hit you in the nervous system every time you think about the fact that it happened. Now, I want to give an example. Hang on, I have to move this thing. It's bothering me. It's my little crystal thing, and it was like shifted the wrong way. Okay. One day, I know that I will have the clarity, awareness, and peace with, for example, the night that my youngest was born. I'm not going to get into the whole thing with it or anything, but it did not go the way that I had originally planned. And I'm still working through it. 7 years later, I'm still kind of like feeling robbed, feeling this way, feeling that way. I'm slowly being able to go, okay, like, I'm going to feel this way until I don't feel this way anymore. So we're just going to let it be that way. So I want you to know I'm not over here like, well, I've reconciled everything and everything's all perfect. And no, no, no. Your girl Jess is I just a human just like you. And I'm just doing the best I can. And I want to share with you all of these things that I learned because if it's helping me, it's probably going to help you too. And especially if you're like me and you're like suddenly realizing all of these things as you go into like the emotional roller coaster of perimenopause and you're like, wow, everything's really screaming at me now. But hey, man, it's never too late. It's never too late to sit with something and then just be like, okay, I don't have to let it bother me anymore, but I don't want you to sit there in your mind and be like, it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm fine. I don't care anymore because that's not authentic, not caring. Like that's you trying to convince yourself of that, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you're not going to get the total result that you want. So just sit with it. And if nothing else, just remember that nothing is wasted. And the more that you can allow some of these things to be acknowledged and move through you, the more you're going to be able to see that. And when you're seeing that, you're seeing you. You're seeing you. You're seeing you get back to feeling like you. And that's what I want for you. So, if anyone would like my quantum path to wellness, that is always free for you. Go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/quantum-path and download that. That is free for you. And if you would like to book an emotion code or body code session, I am very happy to do that for you too. Just go to deeprootedwellnessid.com. You can book everything right from there. Please share this with anybody who might be going through something or went through something and yeah. A lot of you know what? I mean, I pretty much just named everybody you've ever met or come into contact with because we are here to go through stuff. We are here to experience life. And there's going to be happy, there's going to be sad, there's going to be terror, there's going to be just complete elation. There's going, it's going to you're going to experience all of it. And it's all going to stack on top of everything and you're there and it makes a beautiful you. And I'm here to help you with that. All right, everybody have a beautiful day. And remember whatever way you're feeling, you don't have to necessarily feel that way every single time you think of it. It is possible to think in a different way. Bye for now, guys.